This morning we're continuing with Esther, the story of Esther. We're picking up in chapter 5, and it sounds like a lot, but we're going to look at 5, 6, and 7. It's actually less scripture than what we covered last week, even though it's divided into 3 chapters. So hang tight. We're not going to go way over. As we've been looking at this book of Esther, we've been looking at the way in which power relationships function. And in these next 3 chapters, these power relationships come to a climax. They come to a head. We see the relationship between the king and Esther. We see the relationship between Haman and Mordecai. We see the relationship between the king and his subjects, between dominant people groups and those who've been conquered. We see all of these things play out, and they come to a head in these 3. This is the climax of the story. This is the peak. Where is it going from here? We left off last week, and the people were fasting and praying. They were fasting and praying for 3 days. And we pick up in chapter 5, it says, on the 3rd day, Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the king's palace opposite the king's hall. The king was sitting on his royal throne inside the palace, opposite the entrance to the palace. If only we had a diagram. Then we would know exactly where we are. We're being very specific, but we don't know what the building looked like. So she's in the court, opposite the king's court, or the king's hall. The king's sitting on his royal throne inside the palace, opposite the entrance to the palace. I don't know. Somebody's got a diagram somewhere. As soon as the king saw Queen Esther standing in the court, and remember, she was concerned because the law of the land is if you enter the king's presence without being summoned, it is a death sentence. There's like no trial. There's no due process. You enter the king's presence without an invitation, it's death. Unless the king pardons you for this transgression. Okay, so it's not like, if he hadn't been paying attention, if she would have walked into his presence, he hadn't extended the scepter, just because he didn't see her, death penalty, immediate punishment. So Esther, as soon as the king saw Queen Esther standing in the court, she won his favor, and he held out to her the golden scepter that was in his hand. So she's safe. Then Esther approached and touched the top of the scepter. The king said to her, "What is it, Queen Esther? What is your request? It shall be given to you, even to half of my kingdom." Then Esther said, "If it please the king, let the king and Haman come today to a banquet that I have prepared for the king." Then the king said, "Bring Haman quickly, so that we may do as Esther desires." So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. While they were drinking wine, the king said to Esther, "What is your petition? It shall be granted to you. And what is your request? Even to half of my kingdom, it shall be fulfilled." Then Esther said, "This is my petition and my request." Kind of gets a... Okay. "If I won the king's favor, and if it pleases the king to grant my petition to fulfill my request, let the king and Haman come tomorrow to the banquet that I will prepare for them, and then I will do as the king has said." She does this thing, and I'm not sure exactly what all was going on here, but it seems to me that this was not that she lost her nerve. Okay, this seems very deliberate to me, that she approached the king in this way. Do you remember, as we've been talking about power dynamics, when you don't have the power and someone else does, what do? You make them happy, right? You make them happy. So the king calls for Vashti, she doesn't come. His counsel's like, what will make the king happy? Get rid of Vashti, bring in someone else. The king sobers up, he's sad he misses Vashti. What does his counsel do? Oh no, quick, bring in some virgins, get the king happy. If you want someone with power to do something for you, you have to make them happy. That's the dynamic that's being played out right here. What do lobbyists do when they want Congress to do something for them? They make them happy. How do they make them happy? With gifts. Other places it would be called bribes, but with gifts. You want someone rich and powerful to do something for you, what do? You make them happy. If you don't have money, you use words. She invites the king to a banquet. What kind of investment does the king have to make in order to come to a banquet? Just time. He wasn't doing anything anyways. Didn't have anything on his royal calendar. Banqueting sounds fun. We already know this king likes to party. So she invites him to a party. A private party. Just him and Haman. So he says, of course I'll come. In fact, go get Haman real quick. Bring him back. Let's get to this party. They're having dinner. The king repeats his question to her, what is your request? And her response is, once again, just come to my party tomorrow and I'll tell you. Come to my party tomorrow. So, yeah. So she just repeats the same tactic. I hate to call it a tactic, but that's what it is. This is not an accident. This is not, Esther doesn't know how to ask. This is Esther reminding the king that he likes her. This is Esther reminding the king that they have a good time together. This is Esther reminding the king why he made her queen in the first place. Because if she would have come to him and said, Haman, your closest friend, is a big meanie, the first time, what are her odds? What are her odds that he's going to fulfill her request? Probably not so great. Maybe 50-50, depending on his mood. But if she brings the king and Haman to a banquet, just for a banquet, and if she brings king and Haman to another banquet, just for another banquet's sake, she is reminding the king of their connection. So, picking up in verse 9, Haman went out that day happy and in good spirits. But when Haman saw Mordecai at the king's gate and observed that he neither rose nor trembled before him, he was infuriated with Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman restrained himself and went home. Then he sent and called for his friends and his wife Zeresh. And Haman recounted to them the splendor of his riches, the number of his sons, and all the promotions with which the king had honored him, and how he had advanced him above the officials and the ministers of the king. Haman's feeling a little insecure. So he gathers his friends together to tell them just how great he is. Just to remind them, this is who I am, this is all my riches, these are all my sons, these are all the honors that I have from the king. And he added at the end, Queen Esther, let no one but myself come with the king to the banquet that she prepared. Tomorrow I am also invited by her, together with the king, yet all this does me no good. Okay, long list, riches, sons, honors, invitations to banquets with the queen. All of this does me no good, so long as I see that Jew, Mordecai, sitting at the king's gate. Mordecai sitting at the king's gate? Sitting at the gate, that phrase is a position of honor within his own community. We've talked about this, that he was there probably in some kind of official capacity, helping with legal transactions, helping maybe argue people's cases. The gate is where justice takes place. So I see the Jew, Mordecai, sitting at the king's gate, and it just ruins everything. Haman's got problems. Haman's got real problems. This is like social media before social media was social media. He walked through town and people would bow. People would stand up if they were sitting down. They would give him honor. They would give him respect. They would give him worship. Like all those little likes on Facebook or little hearts on Twitter. Mordecai didn't like his host. He rode by, Mordecai stayed seated. Didn't even pay any attention. And now Haman is furious. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he has riches. It doesn't matter that he had offered, do you remember, to pay into the king's treasury 375 tons of silver to destroy the Jews. Pocket change for Haman. None of that matters anymore because Mordecai didn't give him the respect he thought he deserved. Then his wife Zeresh and all of his friends said to him, "Hey, let's build a gallows 50 cubits high, and in the morning tell the king to have Mordecai hanged on it, and then go with the king to the banquet in good spirits." This advice pleased Haman, and he had the gallows ready. What do we do with people who are powerful? We make them happy. Haman's not having a good day. What's his friend's advice? What's his wife's advice? Just kill him. He'll feel a lot better tomorrow. Just kill him. Do they remind him that all of his wealth and all of his power and all of his progeny, that these are all blessings, that these are all things he should be thankful for? No. They engage with him, right along with him, in this thought that just because one person does not give you honor or respect, that should ruin your life. They joined with him because Haman is the one with the power. We've got to make people with power happy. This advice pleased Haman, and he had the gallows made. Now, these are not hanging gallows. This is not gallows with ropes. These are impaling stakes. We think hanging is brutal and inhuman. Impaling people alive, probably a lot more gruesome. That's just my theory. I didn't go look up pictures of people impaled on the internet to find out. I'm just going to stick with my theory that it's more gruesome, that it's a more painful death, that it's more horrible and horrific. Haman had the gallows made. Chapter 6. On that night, the king could not sleep, and he gave orders to bring the book of records, the annals, and they were read to the king. It was found written how Mordecai had told about Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's eunuchs who had guarded the threshold and who had conspired to assassinate the king. And the king said, "What honor or distinction has been bestowed on Mordecai for this?" The king's servants who attended him said, "Nothing's been done for him." The king said, "Who is in the court?" Now Haman had just entered the outer court of the king's house to speak to the king about having Mordecai hanged on the gallows that he had prepared for him. So the king's servants told him, "Haman is here, standing in the court." The king said, "Let him come in." So Haman came in, and the king said to him, "What shall be done for the man whom the king wishes to honor?" Haman said to himself, "Whom would the king wish to honor more than me?" So Haman said to the king, "For the man whom the king wishes to honor, let royal robes be brought, which the king has worn, and a horse that the king has ridden, with a royal crown on his head. Let the robes and the horse be handed over to one of the king's most noble officials. Let him robe the man whom the king wishes to honor, and let him conduct the man on horseback through the open square of the city, proclaiming before him, 'Thus shall it be done for the man whom the king wishes to honor.'" I mean, you can just almost feel the irony building, 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 building. The king said to Haman, "Quickly, take the robes and the horse, as you have said, and do so to the Jew Mordecai who sits at the king's gate. Leave out nothing that you have mentioned." So Haman took the robes and the horse and robed Mordecai and led him through the open square of the city, proclaiming, "Thus shall it be done for the man whom the king wishes to honor." I wonder how, joyously he proclaimed that. I wonder at the rage that was seething within him. If Mordecai not standing up as he passed by was a slight way that Haman could not stand, even though Haman knew that in just a short time he would destroy not only Mordecai, but all of his people. Not even that thought was enough to keep him from building impaling posts 50 feet high. Because why? Because he didn't stand up when Haman passed by. And now Haman has had to honor him above himself. I'm surprised that Haman didn't just stroke out and die right there. But he did as the king asked. Why did he do as the king asked? Because you don't argue with a king who, with a snap of his fingers, can end your life. Haman might have honors, he might have riches, he might have horses, he might have sons, but he's still not the king. And what do we do with people who have power? We make them happy. So Haman fulfills the king's decree. Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman hurried to his house, mourning and with his head covered. When Haman told his wife Zeresh and all his friends everything that had happened to him, his advisors and his wife Zeresh said to him, "If Mordecai, before whom your downfall has begun, is of the Jewish people, you will not prevail against him, but will surely fall before him." Now, I don't know why they didn't tell him that before. Some advisors, you are. Why didn't they warn him of that before? Or was this a prophetic word spoken at that moment, only understood in that moment? While they were still talking with him, the king's eunuchs arrived and hurried Haman off to the banquet Esther had prepared. He didn't even have time to vent. He didn't even have time to lament. In the middle of his conversation, they showed up to take him to Esther's banquet. So the king and Haman went in to feast with Queen Esther. On the second day, as they were drinking wine, the king again said to Esther, "What is your petition, Queen Esther? It shall be granted to you. And what is your request? Even to half of my kingdom it shall be fulfilled." Then Queen Esther answered, "If I have won your favor, O king, and if it pleases the king, let my life be given to me. That is my petition, and the lives of my people, that is my request. For we have been sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be killed, and to be annihilated. If we had been sold merely as slaves, both men and women, I would have held my peace, but no enemy can compensate for this damage to the king." The king said to Queen Esther, "Who is he and where is he? Who has presumed to do this?" Esther said, "A foe and an enemy, this wicked Haman." Then Haman was terrified before the king and the queen. The king rose from the feast in wrath and went into the palace garden, but Haman stayed to beg for his life from Queen Esther, for he saw that the king had determined to destroy him. When the king returned from the palace garden to the banquet hall, Haman had thrown himself on the couch where Esther was reclining. Let's remember here that the king's women were kept in a harem where no men were allowed, only eunuchs. Once a woman was in the king's harem, she could have no contact, virtually no contact with men, only eunuchs. That's why Esther had to send messages back and forth to Mordecai. She couldn't even see her own uncle, the man who had raised her as her father. So for Haman to go and lay himself out on the couch where she was sitting was a huge breach, an enormous, enormous breach of protocol, of their customs, of honor. It was a transgression against the king. When the king returned, Haman had thrown himself on the couch, and the king said, "Will he even assault the queen in my presence in my own house?" As the words left the mouth of the king, they covered Haman's face. Then Harbona, one of the eunuchs in attendance on the king, said, "Look, the very gallows that Haman has prepared for Mordecai, whose word saved the king, stands at Haman's house, 50 cubits high." And the king said, "Hang him on that." So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then the anger of the king abated. You can't write better stories than this. You really can't. You cannot write. No fiction writer could write better stories than this. These words from this eunuch, the words from the queen, revealing what had been going on under the king's very nose, enraged him to the point that he just had his best friend hung on gallows 50 cubits high. This is why we keep people with power happy. Because with one word, with one snap of their fingers, it's your life. Is this the right way? Is this the way that it's supposed to be? No, I don't think it is. I don't think this is what God wants for us. When the Israelites came and they said, "Give us a king like everyone else," the prophet's response was, "You don't want a king. You don't want to give one person that much power. They will abuse it. They'll take your sons and put them in their army. They'll take your money. They'll put it in their treasury. They'll take your crops. They'll put it in their pantry. You don't want a king. You don't want to give someone that much power." We don't always get to choose the system that we're in. Esther had no choice about her position in this system. She didn't ask to be part of a captive people. She didn't ask to be taken to the harem. She didn't ask to become a queen. But here she is. Mordecai didn't ask to be part of the captive people. He didn't ask to know about this plot that had happened behind the king's back to kill the king. He didn't ask for that. He didn't go looking for that. But he did the right thing in the middle of the system he was in. Esther did the right thing in the middle of the system she was in. We can't always choose the circumstances that we experience. We can't always choose our position. We can choose what to do with that. We can choose what to do with the position that we've been given. We can choose to do the right thing, or we can choose to do the wrong. We can choose life for ourselves and for others, or we can choose death and destruction for ourselves and for others. We can make those choices. If this story tells us anything, it's that evil is not new. Evil is not new. Men like Haman, who would manipulate power for their own benefit. It's something we see today, but it's not new. Sometimes we're afraid that because of the system that we're in, because of the circumstances we're in, that everything will be utterly destroyed. Have you noticed that so many of the movies and books and television shows are all about dystopian futures? They're all about the destruction of civilization in the world, and it all comes about because of what? People with power who use it wrong. It's easy to get caught up in the fear, but the truth is, we have these witnesses who stand on our behalf that say, in the midst of the worst possible circumstance, when everything looks like it's going to come crumbling down, choose to do the right thing. It may not always turn out well for you. Not everybody has a happy ending in the Bible. I don't know if you knew that. Not all the stories end with a happily ever after. But regardless of what our circumstances are, God is faithful. God was faithful in this time to help reveal the truth, to help uncover this plot against not only the Jewish people, not only against Mordecai, but against the queen herself. And God used people who had no power in order to rescue the Jewish people. Esther started out with the least amount of power in that civilization, a young girl, part of the captive people, an orphan. She had nothing. She just had her uncle. God put her in a place where she could save her people. But she had to be willing to risk. She had to be willing to do the right thing, even if it meant suffering on her behalf. And it was seen. The fact that the eunuchs were speaking up for her tells me that it was seen. Her integrity made itself known. Esther didn't say, go hang Haman on the gallows. The king didn't say, go hang Haman on the gallows. It was one of the eunuchs, a slave in the palace, who said, what you didn't know is that Haman was going to hang Mordecai today on those gallows. Why don't you go hang him on those gallows? When we make the right choice, regardless of our position of power and authority, we can be assured that it will be seen. It will be witnessed, not only by people around us, but by God himself. God pays attention. God knows our lives. He knows our circumstances. And we can trust that God is good, and we can trust that God is at work, even when things are almost dire. It is up to us, though, what we choose to do in these moments. Whether we choose to use the position that we've been given for ourselves, for selfish gain, or to take a risk to do good. I hope that we will seek God and God's truth in every situation that we're in every relationship that we're in every circumstance that we encounter, so that we can see God move and work in miraculous ways.